So a life well spent brings happy death. Leonardo da Vinci said that. The following men died today in history. They could also sculpt and paint. These stories are filled with doom and gloom, with cheerfulness. They ain't. Let's go. On this day in 1901, Swiss symbolist painter Arnold Bachmann died at the age of 73, most likely from stroke-related health problems. Here's an art history lesson. Symbolism was a late 19th century art movement of French, Russian, and Belgian origin in poetry and other arts. Symbolism in painting is characterized by mythological and dreamlike imagery. The symbols used by symbolism are not the familiar emblems of mainstream iconography, but intensely personal and private, obscure and ambiguous references. More a philosophy than an actual style of art. Symbolism in painting is influenced by contemporary Art Nouveau style. But I want to talk specifically about one of Bachmann's best-known paintings titled Isle of the Dead. There are many renditions of the ubiquitous painting of a strange island where strange things are occurring. Russian-American Lolita author Vladimir Nabokov alludes to the pervasiveness of the painting in his earlier novel Despair. He states that the painting could be found in every home in Berlin. Isle of the Dead depicts an isolated, rocky island in the middle of an endless expanse of dark water. A little rowboat is arriving at the island with a man at the oars, and another figure at the bow dressed in all white. There also looks to be a coffin in the boat. The island has several dark trees, which could be seen as cypress trees, also associated with cemeteries. Little doors and windows line the islands encompassing rock walls. Many observers have interpreted the oarsmen as a representation of the boatman Charon, who ferried souls to the underworld in Greek mythology. The water would then be the river Styx, and the white-clad passenger could be a recently deceased soul transiting to the afterlife. This painting is said to reference the English cemetery in Florence, Italy, where Bachmann spent much of his life. It also happens to be the burial location of Bachmann's deceased baby daughter, Maria. Bachmann was characteristically dark-sided, as seen in his self-portrait titled Portrait of Myself, where the figure of death can be seen by his side. On this day, in 1962, Croatian sculptor Ivan Mistrovic died at the age of 78. Mistrovic was also an architect and an avid anti-communism activist. He somewhat worked in Art Nouveau style as well and was an extremely honored sculptor, being the first artist of Croatian heritage to exhibit at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. August Rodin, the famous sculptor, even went so far as to say that Mistrovic was a better sculptor than he was. Think about that. The compliment afforded Mistrovic and his wife the ability to travel to international exhibitions. He eventually had to flee Croatia due to his anti-communist stance and ended up in the United States. He was able to return to Yugoslavia one more time before the time of his death, and this was to visit Cardinal Stepanek for a final time. This man happened to be a good friend of his and had previously helped Mistrovic flee the country. And at the request of various people from Croatia, 59 statues were sent from the United States to Yugoslavia, and in 1952, Mistrovic signed off of his Croatian estates to the people of Croatia, including more than 400 sculptures and numerous drawings. Upon his return, he vowed to his colleague painter Jozo Krčakovic that he would not return to the country as long as the communists were in power. Like Bachmann, Mistrovic witnessed the death of a child. Two, in fact. His daughter Marta, who moved with him to the U.S., died in 1949 at the age of 24. And his son, Tiraitko, who was 39 when he died in 1961. Mistrovic suffered a minor stroke in 1960, which affected his eyesight. After creating 4 clay sculptures to memorialize his children, Mistrovic died in 1962 at the age of 79, in South Bend, Indiana, of all places. Communist Yugoslav authorities had originally promised the Mistrovic family that Ivan's remains could lie at the cathedrals of his hometown, Once his remains had arrived in Yugoslavia, the authorities went back on their word and did not allow this to take place. On this day, in 2009, American realist painter Andrew Wyeth died in his sleep at the age of 91. He is best known for the awe-inspiring Christina's World, a painting that depicts the backside of a girl in the grass staring longingly into the distance, where a little farm and an adjacent barn can be seen. The woman in the painting is Anna Christina Olsen. She is likely to have suffered from Charcot-Marie tooth disease, or CMT, a genetic polyneuropathy. Some of the symptoms include wasting of muscle tissue of the lower legs, and this can give rise to what is called stork leg, which is a term used to describe the symptoms of a leg becoming inverted or champagne bottle-like in appearance, which makes it difficult to walk. Wyeth was inspired to create the painting when he saw her crawling across a field while he was watching from a window in the house. What is there to say about someone who died peacefully in their sleep other than congratulations? May the time you spent on earth be remembered more pleasantly than Christina Olsen's. She also died this month, in 1968. May her afterlife be painless and free of struggle. That's all I have today. See you next week. Sean Sees Dead People.